What's up, everybody? Jeremiah from Redzone Reptiles back again with the one and only
Josh with FearlessExotics, and you guys are now watching Dragon Talk. What's going on, man?
What's up?
We're back at it again.
Oh, yeah. Give me 1 second.
No, you're good. I'm still cleaning baby tubs. How it is.
Oh, yeah, running a little late.
No, are you sure? Like I said, I'm still cleaning tubs. Got these guys.
All right, guys, for everybody that's going to be tuning in tonight, first, we're going to start off tonight a little bit with just talking about diets, when to feed your bearded dragon, what to feed your bearded dragon, what not to feed your bearded dragon, and what you can feed your bearded dragon, but it's not really necessary due to nutritional value. Not that big. Also, some things are really nutritional for your bearded dragons that you just don't need to feed them every single day. Feeding them once, twice a week is more optimal than feeding them every day. We actually will touch on burmation as well due to that time of the year.
Yeah.
If you do have adult dragons, what up?
Anybody that's not in Florida too, because I feel like a lot of people that have beardies in Florida, they don't really go through bromation as heavily as people that are up north do. You know what I mean?
Yeah, if you're in the warmer states, sometimes you won't even know what burmation is, or if you have a pretty acclimated room to where you control everything, and your temperatures don't really fluctuate during the winter and the summer times. I'm in a garage, so they do fluctuate at least 20 degrees. So my dragons do know. Some of them, as much as actually, I should say I'll probably be able to control that much better when I get all my new cages in, which actually should be this week, hopefully. Once all the cages come in and everyone is sealed in and not in the totes, I'll probably be able to control that better because in the wintertime, what I can do is I can put a ceramic heat emitter in the cages instead of a light, and that way it'll keep the cage at whatever temperatures I set the thermostat to. And the UVB bulb will go off, but the ceramic heat emitter will keep the cages at least, 80 degrees at night while they're sleeping, so I can control those climates at all times.
It's cold by you right now, right? Isn't it cold out there?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It was freezing today. So I don't know if you guys know me. I wear shorts all year long. Cold or not, snowboarding, raining, wet, whatever. I wear shorts all the time. And I can definitely tell you right now, it is cold. I've been contemplating upgrading to some longer shorts that are, some people might call them pants. But I haven't done it yet. But it's definitely getting cold. It don't snow. The worst part is we get a lot of wind. So it might only be 38, 40 degrees. So above freezing, but then we have like 15, 20 degree winds, and it just makes it so cold.
Yeah, has it been raining out there too, or no? Just cold.
Last couple of days it's been raining, but this is really like the first rain we've seen for the year. I haven't seen too much rain, at least in my part of California.
You're in
I'm actually in Central California, so I'm in the valley.
Okay.
But with my job, I drive up north. I drive all the way down south. The weather hasn't really been too much of an issue until this time of the year, which is actually pretty crazy. Usually it starts raining at like mid-October, at the end of October. So a lot of people that are growing, their plants get messed up because the rain comes in when they're doing their
Yeah.
outdoor stuff at the end of October if you don't pick it too early.
Yeah.
This year, literally like no rain in October. No rain at all.
Hold on, we got some questions here. When you are in Pennsylvania, what hits? Yeah, that's crazy. In Florida, I think last week it was like, how cold was it last week? Like 37? Like last week was like 37 degrees? Well, anyways, it was like 40 degrees, but it felt like 37, and everybody in here was like freaking out.
So remember,
Huh?
guys, if you just have like one bearded dragon, you're not taking care of an entire breeding colony, I guess, like me. Sealed cages are the best way to go.
Oh,
Get
for
rid of the
sure.
ones that have screen tops. Get
For
the ones
sure.
with the ceramic fixtures on the inside. That way you can really control the atmosphere inside of a smaller cage, a 3x18 by 18, or you can control that temperature a lot easier than you can control an entire room that's 20 feet by 20 feet. So if you can get a enclosed cage that you can control the heat a lot better, it's definitely the way to go. Get something with the fixture built in so you don't have
Yeah.
screen tops, because
No,
all of
and
us know heat rises, and if you have a screen top, all your heat's going right out of the top
going,
as soon as the light turns off. So if
especially if you
you can
have,
get something sealed, that's the best way to go.
especially if you have a like a reptile room. When you walk into a lot of people that have like tubs or whatever, you walk in there, the room is hot, like in the 90s. But if you have either like melamine cages where they have the sliding glass doors, so there's not a screen thing, you walk in there, it might be warm, but it's not going to be as hot as having open, lamps, whatever. Everything is literally staying in that what's it called? Staying in that box, and it also will help with like your people don't know this, but it also helps with your electricity bill because you're not using because like whenever you have tubs, your bulbs are working harder to keep whatever timer you have it or thermometer set at. So if you have it in tubs and it doesn't have to overwork itself, then you're saving money on electricity, which I didn't know that until just recently.
Yeah. So what I did with my tubs at night, because the whole room stays pretty warm. With the tubs, it keeps the whole temperature in the room about 80 degrees. But I have hygrometers in all of my rooms, or in all different corners of my room, so I can see when the temperature and the humidity percentage is, and it tracks your lows and it tracks your highs. And at night, it was getting really low, and the problem was the bulbs, when they're on, it heats the room, but it's so cold at night when the light, or during the day when the lights turn off, that cold comes in and just destroys whatever heat I had. So what I had to start doing was running a heater in the entire room during the day,
Yeah, to just
since I have
stabilize it.
tubs, and it just keeps everybody about 80 degrees. And also, if you have enclosures that are enclosed but they're on the ground, try to raise them up off the ground, because nothing's heating under the cage, so it gets really
Sucking
cold
the
under
heat.
the
Yeah.
cage. And if you could raise that, even with like some 2x4s, to keep the air flow under the cage, that'll help keep the bottom of the cage from getting too cold where your bearded dragon is laying down.
Yeah.
That's another potential problem, because I have concrete floors, so the basking spot might be getting warm, but his cool spot where the floor is probably
70,
takes all night to warm up, if it even gets warm enough. And then it gets super cold at night. So when all my new enclosures come, they're all going to be raised up off the ground so that I can have airflow on the bottom and nothing's getting too cold. The bottom cages aren't getting cold either.
Sure. Hey, we have some questions here, bro. Can bearded dragons be put together once they reach full size, male and female? So males and females should only be together when they're breeding.
Yeah,
Males will stress out a female to the point where he'll either kill her due to him over stressing her out, or he'll kill her literally just by like attacking her. So taking off limbs, fingers, tails.
And a lot of people will be, not a lot, but I'll get those people that are like, oh, I kept my two bearded dragons together for this long and I had a success.
But with really long stems,
One main problem I always see with that is they didn't even keep both those bearded dragons at warm enough, so they never even got warm enough to not like each other. And two, when one does pass away, usually it's a female that's impacted with infertile eggs because even though they didn't see them mating, if you put a male around a female, you can cause her to make infertile eggs. She doesn't need to breed to make eggs, but if you put her around a male, she can just create those follicles in her by herself, and then you'll just get infertile eggs. So not only did you stress her out, then you took all the nutrition away from her, and you're not even going to get a product to produce at the end of the day. So really, cohabitating a male and a female, just there's no point. If you're putting two females together because you need to make space or you have a new enclosure coming and it's temporary, I don't have any problems with it as long as they're both healthy and you're not, getting one sick with the other. As long as they're both healthy, two females, temporary, fine. As long as they're not fighting. Two males, you should never put those together. I can't even put my males next to each other. So if you got a male that's ready to go, he should be pumped up just at the sight of another guy, and you would never be able to put those in the same cage.
Yeah, and like with like people that breed dragons, like I keep two younger females together. They both eat, they both shed, they both whatever. But like you said, it's a long term, but it's temporary. Once I get my enclosures that he's ordering, once I get mine, everybody's gonna get their separate enclosure. But I mean, they've been together for 6 months, and they've been good. But that doesn't mean that one day I can't come in here and one have an arm missing or whatever. So it also depends on the female, because I have a female now. I put anything with her, and she's going after them, regardless of male and female, baby or whatever.
Dude, I got a female that beats up my males.
Yeah.
Like, literally, the only way I can get her to breed with a male is if I soak her in a tub with a bunch of other females, and I introduce a male to like a tub of like 5 females. She'll go over there and start being a little hoe in front of them because she has to be like the first. But I swear, if I put just like a male into her tub or something, she'll be all mad and beating them up. And I'm like, dude, you're jacking up my breeders. What are you doing?
Do you have any books you recommend or websites that you freak? So me, to be honest with you, my books is pretty much YouTube. I take information from a lot of different people and kind of make my own, I don't know how you would call it, my own practices. So like I do things differently than a lot of people, but a lot of people do things a lot, like he does things differently than I do, I'm sure, because he's in California, I'm in Florida. So where you live has to do with a lot of things, and as well as how you view certain things, how you view. Some people that breed have 100 dragons, they all have each individual enclosure. Some breeders have 50 dragons and they all share 2 tubs. You know what I mean? It just, people have their own preferences, and so I just I use YouTube a lot and just kind of experience. I kind of experiment with my animals.
And that's one reason, me and Fearless are going to be doing this, is because he's on the East Coast, I'm on the West Coast. We're going to be doing the Tupac and Biggie style, bringing you all the good information. But he's in a warm tropical area. I am not in a warm tropical area. I'm in a either dry and warm or cold and humid. So I'm the opposite. So he'll be able to give you lots of, because a lot of my followers are on the East Coast too. So a lot of people that are going to be tuning in will be able to help both of you guys on each side, especially. But real quick, I just want to get into a few things about the diet. There's a few things that I wanted to touch on. I've been getting asked a lot what you can and can't feed your bearded dragons. One thing I want everyone to know that is extremely bad for your bearded dragon. You should never feed it, and it can be deadly to all your bearded dragons, even in a small amount. Avocados, garlic, eggplant, and onions. Those are the 4 no's. Do not, if I see what the problem, the reason I bring this up is because I see a lot of people making a salad for themselves and then
say,
giving that same exact salad without the dressing to their bearded dragons. So that's a big problem because you could be giving them something that's toxic to them that you don't necessarily think's bad. Also, another thing, cucumber skins. If you're going to be feeding cucumbers, try to skin it the best you can. It's not so much that it's toxic to them, but it's high in fiber, and if you're giving them too much fiber, you might be getting an impacted dragon when you're just trying to do something good. Carrots, that is something actually I wanted to touch on. That is a very good thing to add to your bearded dragon's diet, but it's something that you don't want to overdo. So maybe once, twice a week, you get vitamin A, a lot of good stuff out of carrots, but you don't need to give them a lot. Also, like blueberries, I don't know. Blueberries is another one. Blackberries,
in my salads
fruits and stuff, is good, but it's high in sugar, and they don't break it down like we do. So you don't want to do that every single day.
They'll get watery poop, especially with blueberries. And I rarely will I feed fruit, and if I do, it'll be like a blueberry here, a blueberry there. But in my salads, like what I do weekly, is a lot of mustard greens, turnip greens, squash, zucchini, and then I'll throw in some cilantro and also throw in some bell peppers, the red ones.
Yeah, so those are good. You want to stick with your chards, your collard greens,
anything that's
bok choy, your red leaf lettuces. Lettuces are really good. Another thing that's really good to add, I don't know if it's like readily available. I don't know if there's any big companies making it, but bee pollen is super good. It's literally
sometimes
it's literally fats and amino acids that it's a meal all by itself, and you just add that to the greens or the dubia, and it just makes it an even more nutritious meal for your bearded dragons. It also helps with their immune system so that your bearded dragons aren't getting sick. Just, never a bad thing. My bearded dragon died last night with her eyes bulged out, mouth open, small. Closure was small too.
What was your diet setup like?
That sounds more like an intestinal problem, like she might have passed away overnight or she got too cold. One thing you want to watch out for with the cold season is they'll get digestive problems and stuff if they get too cold, because they're not going to be metabolizing their food, and it'll start rotting in their gut, and then they'll get super sick and die.
Yeah, they'll almost get like sepsis, or like their body.
Yeah, like a bearded dragon type.
Oh no, we had another question earlier too. That was a good question about something about I don't want to get too off track, but something about how much do you pay a month to own babies, and then have you ever thought about stop breeding? Have you ever thought about not breeding anymore?
I actually broke it down to each bearded dragon baby when I was doing it, one of my past videos, and just on dubia alone, because so it was a clutch of 20 that I did the percentages on. But so it was like 5% each bearded dragon. It kind of broke down to out of the 5,000 dubia that I was buying, I got it to about, each bearded dragon was killing probably about 100 a week. So 100, if you were to just buy that, not wholesale, 100 dubia a week smalls was like $7.95. So per baby, it was $7.95 a week. Plus, that's not even with like electricity and everything. That was just simply with the food. And all I was feeding was dubia and beardy, the beardy buffet.
Beardy buffet, yeah.
So I chop that up into super small cubes, and I get them on that as soon as I can, as soon as possible with greens. But greens are pretty cheap, so I didn't really add that in. Dubia were the most expensive thing. So $7.95 a baby per week.
How many babies did you have when you had babies?
And that was 20.
Oh, bro. I have I just sold a couple dragons today, and I brought some to a local pet shop of mine that I know the owner. He's a really cool dude. So I brought a couple babies there, and I still have 56, and then I still have 17 eggs in the incubator. So I had close to 100 babies, and
Yes.
I spent about probably $300 a month on crickets, baby superworms, black soldier fly larvae,
See, that's where I messed up. Is I should have been
stuff
on
like that.
the black soldier
Yeah,
black soldier flies. If I would have started on that instead of just doing dubia, it would have definitely helped my costs go down a little bit.
and I have a local guy that I go to his house, and he hooks it up. He does it for chickens, people's chickens, and he was selling them for dirt cheap. And I was like, bro, like I'll buy your whole operation from you, like. And so he definitely hooks me up. I get like 3 to 4,000, nice size larvae for like $50, and it's a lot.
Damn.
I mean, it's cheap. Like I feel bad whenever time I go buy it from him, because I'm like, dude, like I'm robbing you right now. Because when you buy them online, you get these little jars for like $15, and they're like they look like little fleas. So
Real quick, round table bearded dragons. If it's a female, I usually wait about 18 to 20 months till I even start thinking about her. But she has to hit 400 grams before I'll breed a female.
Yeah, I
400 grams is the sweet spot.
Yep.
And,
the minimum is 350 though, but I like anything over 400. Like the
I
bum of
won't
this,
I won't
the bum of
rush
this guy
that.
right here, it's 650.
So
She's
even if she
650 and
hits
not
400 at a year old, I'll still push her out the extra 6 months, and try to get more weight on her. It's not so much how much weight she puts on and her size. It's more how mature she is on the inside. You could potentially hold yourself back from getting more eggs in the long run by not letting her fully mature. If you let her fully mature, she could produce 35, 40 eggs for you. If you potentially handicap yourself by breeding her too early, you could just hold yourself to a 25 egg clutch for the rest of her life. She might not produce much more than that just because you did that.
And also too, what I've noticed for a lot of people is like I've seen people that will breed a dragon at 350 grams, like to the exact gram. And a lot of the babies I feel like they struggle with eating first of all, and they struggle with eating greens. But if you like the female that these guys are from, the mom is like 650. She's a big girl, but she's not fat. And all these babies, like this guy is 5 weeks old, and look how, no nips, no anything, super fat belly, like, you know what I mean? Like, and I just think that has to go along with it too, is making sure you have healthy parents too, like not fat, not overweight, really well started, and that I believe that passes on to the babies, because these guys, the day they were born, they were already eating from me. You know what I mean? So that most breeders can't say that. You know what I mean? At least in my opinion.
Also, incubation, keeping your incubator from fluctuating too much is a big thing when you're incubating your babies. I used to use, or last year I used the Exoterra. This year we're gonna have of course Dragon Hawks is gonna be hooking me up. I'm gonna be getting a pretty decent sized incubator from him. I got 9, maybe 11 females that I'll have in rotation for the 2021 season coming up in about 2 months.
This is my incubator that
so I'm gonna need something big.
But this is held almost 100 eggs. Like I said, these are all the other eggs that I've hatched so far this year. But it's a 3-tier thing. But you also the sweet spot is in the middle. And like I said, I still have babies in there cooking. But you can make yours if you don't. Because how much is the one that he's selling?
Actually, it's a pretty. If you go on his website, it's a pretty good deal. He has a bigger size one. I think it's like 300 plus shipping. And then there's a really big one that's like,
buying one.
If you're doing big things, it's 500. But you can customize them too, so you can get the LEDs in them, bigger fans, smaller fans, thermostats built in, and everything when it's shipped to you. So everything comes in super dialed in, super. You believe me, if you're not doing something super big, you don't have to, I'm gonna be doing a ton of clutches next year. You
better
got
have,
lucky. You got a cool little fridge. That shit's sick.
dude. I made it for $150. I got the wine cooler for 50. I got the thermostat for like 80, and then I think the heat tape was like 20 or 25. So I mean, 140 or 160 somewhere in there. And like I said, it's held 80 something eggs, and they've all hatched. They've all been doing good. You know what I mean?
Yeah, no, definitely. When you're starting off, do the best you can with your budget.
Sure.
Don't ever go buying something that you
How's it going,
don't
house
need.
skills?
That's one tip I'll give you guys right now. Don't buy something that you don't need.
Or don't know how
But
to
don't
use.
wait till you actually need it to go buy it. Don't be like, oh my God, I'm gonna breed 10 females this year, and I have this little cage or this little incubator that holds 2 clutches. Like, think about that. Obviously, that math doesn't add up. You're gonna have to do something.
One female. Think about one female. Like I have one female. She's giving me 3 decent sized clutches of 20, 20, 23, 27, and 19. That's one female. Some females give 6 clutches of 25 and 30 eggs. So I mean, one female can give you well over 100 babies. And people are breeding 3 and 4 females at a time and thinking they're gonna like you're asking for trouble if you're not expecting that many babies. Because I mean, you
Definitely.
20 or 30 babies, like, oh, I can do that, but 20 or 30 babies is a lot of work. Like, especially when you have to have them segregated in tubs and space. You know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of work. Like, this is the second clutch. That's the first clutch. I mean, literally. I mean, you'll have tubs everywhere, or you'll have enclosures everywhere. It's a lot of work, and it's a lot of money to feed them as well.
Yeah, see, Cool Dragons just said he got one that gave him
6 clutches. Yeah.
I had one last year. I had 2 back to back, give me 2 clutches. So it really depends on the locks because females can retain sperm. And if there's locks that you're not paying attention to and he gets her 5-6 times,
Yeah.
shit,
And they're
you
good
don't
ones.
and they come fast. Unfortunately, it's every 30 to 45 days you're going to have another clutch. She's just going to keep popping them out.
I'm praying that she doesn't lay another one, neither of them.
Yeah,
I had
it's
a
crazy
female
game.
that I bred in the beginning of the season, and she laid 28 infertils, and I was pissed. I'm like, I want eggs, I want eggs, I want eggs, I want eggs, and all year long, nothing. And then I got the mom of these babies out of nowhere. I had a really good deal on her. I grabbed her, and then I had the accidental breeding, and then out of nowhere, I have almost 100 babies. So it's like God was like, "You want babies? Here you go." You know what I mean? So watch out what you wish for.
So another thing to touch on real quick, you guys were asking about what size should you start breeding your bearded dragon. One thing you should be keeping track of is how much you're feeding your bearded dragon. I would say for the first 6 weeks to 10 weeks, just feed them as much as you can, as much as they'll eat. Just keep feeding them. Once they're about
but you don't want to feed
2.5, 3 months old, start feeding them 8 to 12% of their body weight daily. Just break it up, 75% greens for 3 to 5 days of the week, and go heavier on the protein, maybe 50-50 for the other days of the week. Wait till they're bigger, though, to start doing that. Definitely, I would say, 3 months is big enough to start doing a 50% diet. When they're smaller, it's more of a hassle to do greens. They grow much faster when you are giving them lots of protein. Definitely add greens, though, when they're small, because you do not want picky eaters once they get older. Even by 5 to 6 months, they can make up their mind where they'll just not eat for a couple of days because you've only been giving them bugs and you decided to try to give them greens.
Hey, come here, you little psycho.
But if you do have a picky eater, cilantro and bee pollen are 2
and bell peppers.
Smelly things that do help entice them to greens. If you sprinkle bee pollen and chop up cilantro, the smell's really good for them. More likely to hit on the greens if it smells good and it's nice and fresh.
And also what you could do is too, is like I was saying in the last live, I've recently started doing lesser mealworms, because obviously you don't want to feed them a lot of them, but so you put your salad, put your beef bone or your cilantro or whatever, and put a little bit of lesser mealworms in the salad mix, so it kind of moves a little bit. And sometimes they'll go to get a worm and they'll get a mouthful of greens or bell peppers or whatever, and they're like, "Oh, this is actually pretty good," and then they'll start just hitting the greens.
Definitely. So also with the black soldier fly larvae, you can do the
Or
same
that
thing.
too.
And to
Yeah.
get them to start hitting beardy bars, or what I call beardy bars, it's the beardy buffet and the
Yep.
grub pie. I just
Yep.
mix it together, make the whole gelatin, chop it
Yep.
up into little squares, mix it with whatever bugs you're gonna put in there, and then when you pour the bugs out, they just see a lot of movement and they start biting
Boom.
at it, and
Yeah.
boom, they start hitting the beardy buffet and gelatin bites. And at a young age, that's a good thing. That's full of everything that you want them to have. All
Yeah,
the
for sure.
vitamins, all everything that you.
And I'm gonna go ahead and plug Cool Dragons. He has a bunch of Apache products on his website. Do you have some too as well or no?
Cold dragons, yeah.
No,
He's
you.
got
No thing. But do you have any or no?
what?
Products like that, like wholesale products, like Apache or anything like that, on your website or no?
No. Definitely go check out Cool Dragons, because he's got the Arcadia stuff.
Yep.
He's got the Beardy Buffet.
He has
He'll
the
hook
Pro
you up.
Bugs.
Best
The Pro
prices
Bugs
around.
too.
And he's got I don't know if they're in stock right now, but he's got the big, huge containers.
Oh, that's what I bought, and I bought that like a couple of months ago, and I still have like half
Yeah,
of it, and I used it a lot.
the 4-pounders.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
like look how big that thing is.
Yeah.
And then he also has what I want to try is called starts with an L. It's kind of like Rapashi, but it's a new brand. Hopefully he's still,
Lungardi?
Lingardi. Yeah, I want to try that. It's similar to Rapashi, right?
Yeah, so yeah, I know the guys from. They're actually out here where I live. They're from Sacramento,
Nice.
not far from me. But Lugardi, super cool guys, great products. The only product that I don't use by them is the rat breeding pellets anymore. Everything else I still use, but I get the Missouri cheaper now, and I literally had like a side-by-side feeding challenge where I did what was better, the Lugardi or the Missouri, where I made a pile of the food on their little on the top. Dude, they just
Nice.
did not touch the Lugardi. If there was Missouri food, they would not touch the other one. It was crazy. I don't know what Missouri's putting some crack in their
Cool
shit.
Dragons. He's the one that's actually writing right now that says Pro Bugs are coming in stock. Check his page out. I highly recommend him and his products that he has.
Yeah, definitely. He'll hook you up. Probably get a cool little sticker. You know what I'm saying? Let's see if I can. Oh, right there. What? Oh, hello, sexy legs. I think there's another one somewhere around there. Oh, right there. Hello.
No, for sure. I definitely, and people, I don't understand, especially in this hobby, like people are scared to help other people out. Like, listen, like we should all be in here this together. You know what I mean? We can all help each other out. You know?
Yeah,
so,
no,
like,
spread the love. I mean, I'm not gonna tell you guys who I buy my wholesale bugs from or anything. You know, that's my little secret. But if there's a product you can get from somebody else, I'll definitely hook you up. If you're looking for feeders or anything, definitely hit me up. I'll let you know who's got what. I'm always down to share all my information. If you guys ever want to DM me just to see what's going on, just don't be like, oh, what's the genetics of this dragon, and then send me a picture. I'm past those days. I put out plenty of YouTube
if I have the
videos
time,
for you to look at.
I'll try my best. But sometimes a lot of the times it's just a normal with a little bit of color, maybe a hypo here and there, leatherback. You know.
I got 3 kids. I got a dungeon to take care of, a job to work, a life to take care of. Too much to help you out with the genetics, man. Go ahead to my YouTube right now.
Oh, for sure,
Check
yeah.
it out, Redzone Reptiles. Sure. We got at least 2 videos on genetics. If you can't figure out what genetics your dragon are from those 2 videos, probably should just go sell your bearded dragon.
Or any of the other videos that people have on YouTube too. There's a bunch of videos.
There's got to be at least one video you can watch
that you understand.
I know Seventh Galaxy Dragons. They got a video that's very in depth.
Yep,
If you can't,
We Be Reptiles has it as well.
so if you can't figure it out, man, I just don't think reptiles are your thing. Or you bought a normal and you're just really hoping that it's like a hypo trans paradox, but it's
Something.
not.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
I
it's
had a
just about to
I had a
shed or something. I
speaking
don't
of
know
that,
how many times I get, I think my dragon's sick, blah, 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 blah. And then I'm like, no, it's just about to shed. Don't even worry. Give it a couple days, All right. And then like a week later, oh, yeah, it shed. It's fine. I'm like, oh, I'm glad. That stuff, I really don't mind. I'm going to help you out with that. But just
yeah,
if you're like, man, what morph is this? I'm going to be like, here's my YouTube channel. Go check it out, bro.
that's it.
And don't be upset.
I had a lady the other day, or like a couple of months ago, was asking me about my dragons, and then it was like, oh yeah, I used to breed paradox dragons, this and that. I was like, oh, cool. Let me see what you have. This lady sends me a picture of a dragon with blue bars, and I said, you understand that that's not a paradox, right? She's like, yeah, it is. And I was like, okay, how much did you sell it for? 300. And I'm like, okay, well, there, that tells me everything I need to know. Like, paradoxes don't go for $300. A blue bar dragon goes for $300.
There's a pet store right here by my house, and I was in there one time, and I was talking to someone about dragons, and I was like, yeah, I almost bought a paradox for $1,500, and he was like, oh, what? That's crazy. We just sold one for $350. And I was like, what are you talking about? There's no way. We're like not even on the same page right now, bro. If you guys sold one for $350, you just lost a lot of money.
Yeah.
I don't understand how you sell. I mean, you can't even really find anyone selling a paradox unless it's a baby. And as a baby, they're so expensive. And it's never a guarantee. I hate buying small things. If someone would just sell me like a ready-to-breed female paradox, I'd be so much happier spending, $2,500 to $4,000 on that. That I already know it's healthy. I know it's produced. And paradoxes aren't something you really can produce. I know there's a couple people that have the secret and know what it is because they're producing way too many paradoxes for no one else.
I've heard some secrets in the grapevine about how they do it, and I don't. If that's how they do it, I don't agree with it. But that'll be between me and you. Later conversation.
Yeah, so I know KP Critters. He produces a ton. I think Spitfire Dragons produces quite a few.
I forget how
Dragon
to say
Tales.
Dragon Tales.
Yeah, Tammy from Dragon Tales. She's got the secret.
Dragons. She has beautiful dragons.
She's got the secret for sure. She's got a massive collection of beautiful dragons. If you guys want to see some beautiful dragons, go check those people out. KP Critters. I think Spitfire Dragons. You got Dragon Tail. I think it's like Dragon Tail Army or Tammy or something.
Something like that. Just put Dragon Tails, and she does a lot of stuff with like tigers. She has a lot of
dope bars. Super dope bars.
Yeah, bars, a lot of bars. And I think I could be wrong, but I remember on their website, I think they're the ones that started the actual tiger lines and some of the citrus tigers and the rainbow dunner lines. Like, if I'm not mistaken, I think they started those lines like back in like 97. If I'm not mistaken, I could be wrong, but if I remember correctly.
Yeah, there we go. Tammy at Dragon Tales. All right, so yeah, I don't know what her Instagram is. I think it is Dragon Tales. But yeah, at least we got her name right and her company right. I'm happy about that. I don't know what the name of her Instagram is, but we got everything else. Right. Definitely check her out though. She's got some great dragons.
So we could touch on what was that we were gonna touch on? We got pretty much the dye. If anybody has any questions about the dye, just ask. Bromation, I guess we can touch on bromation.
All right, so most dragons aren't even gonna bromate until you're about 2 years old. They're just not mature enough and old enough to go down into bromation for that amount of time. So most of them will stay active for the first 2 years. If it gets really cold in your house with your dragon when it's young, make sure you have a ceramic heat emitter at night, keeping the cage at about 80 degrees. So Burmation is a good thing for females that are going to breed, for males that are going to breed, that are mature. If they're not mature, you don't want to force any type of Burmation. Burmation is a good thing. When you do bring your dragons out of Burmation and you're starting to breed them, so my Burmation is 2 months. Usually it's January, October and January, and then at the beginning of the year, I'll start raising my temperatures. But right now, I keep my bearded dragons at about 85 to 90 during the day, and at night between 75 and 80. Usually, normal temps for me would be about 105, 110 on the basking temp, and about 90 in the cool area. So about 90, 95 maybe at the highest during Burmation, and you don't see a lot of activity. Babies at all times, though, is keeping them warm, keeping them active. You want them eating. You want their digestive system constantly working, metabolizing. That's a plus. You don't want to Burmate babies. So about 2 years old, you'll start seeing a change. When you should be breeding your bearded dragons is when you should be seeing them start to naturally Burmate. And Burmation,
also,
it's just a bunch of inactivity. They don't eat as much. They're a little lazier. They're still alive, though. Believe me, they sleep a lot. They won't spend as much time in the basking area, but they're totally fine. Most bearded dragons can probably live 2 to 3 months without eating. So if you in Burmation, they will eat some. You'll just see that there's not a huge appetite for anything. They will eat a little bit, just not something you really need to be worried about.
And then also with going into Burmation, especially like if you're not really on top of your dragons, I recommend getting a fecal done on them, because you don't want them going into colder temperatures, or because you kind of cut off their basking times. And let's say they have a bunch of parasites, you don't want them to be lower in temperature, because that also lowers their immune system. So then the parasites can take over. So that's some things that a lot of people that are learning about it don't know. But I definitely recommend getting a fecal, or just having your dragons dewormed. It's always a good practice every year.
Definitely. And if you only have one bearded dragon, it's really not that expensive. If you have a ton like me,
I think it's like $60.
And you got one, and you got a sample on everybody, and you're good. Bee pollen. Start boosting tons of bee pollen before Burmation, so that you can boost that immune system. You want your bearded dragons as healthy as possible before you do bring them down to those cold temperatures, like he's saying, because you don't want anything rotting in their gut. You don't want them to have a ton of food. You don't want them eating a lot in cold temperatures, because, like I said, they'll get gut rot, and you really don't want that. That's not something that is optimal for them. Also, make sure when you're giving them like warm baths that you're seeing that bowel movement. You want to see them pooping, everything when you give them a nice warm bath, because you still do that in Burmation. You should still be giving your weekly warm bath for 15 to 20 minutes. And if you're doing everything right, they're gonna pass.
No, for sure.
Guard good.
Worm guard good. Are you asking like the for like the dewormer?
Is that like a company that you're using?
It's a dewormer, yeah. I have the name of the one that I forget the name of it.
So there's some that you got to be very careful with in the amount that you give them, because if your bearded dragon doesn't have worms and you're giving him this type of medicine, you're going to be pushing pretty much everything out of his system, and almost like a cleanse.
Like a cleanse, yeah.
And
but what
you don't want to overdo it.
What you could also do is,
overdo it.
Especially if you only have 1 or 2 dragons, what I'd recommend is biting the bullet, going to the vet once for both of them, seeing the dosages, seeing what they exactly do, and asking the vet what dewormer that they gave. And as long as there was a smooth process, you just paid for pretty much a lifetime, knowledge. You can do Google, you can do whatever, but you're kind of guessing at that point. When you have a vet that says, hey, I just used blah, blah, blah brand. I gave it point whatever cc's of whatever product. You already know, like, okay, so my
And
dragon
the brand
weight
doesn't always even matter,
specified.
because usually whatever they put on that bottle, they'll tell you what the actual medicine is.
Medicine is, yeah. So
And then Google that, look
And
on
then buy it.
Amazon, and I guarantee you'll find something that's very similar that you can dose yourself.
And
I don't recommend you just fucking Googling all that right now. Go to your doctor or go to your vet so that he can tell you, the size of your animal and give you some type of consultation before you just go injecting your bearded dragon.
Yeah. And then
because I use sometimes when I have a sick animal, I'll use something called Carnicare.
Yep.
And it's a liquid diet that you mix. But if you don't mix it right, you'll literally dehydrate your animal and just kill it. And if you use too much, you're just going to give them the runs. So properly dosing whatever animal that you're taking care of definitely is get that consultation first. Don't just throw darts at a dartboard.
Oh, for sure. And then also, like he was saying about medication you can find online, we also breed French bulldogs. We found a lot of times is a lot of the medications and a lot of the dewormers. I'm not a vet, so anybody don't do your research and talk to a vet. But what we do with our French bulldogs is a lot of times we'll do the same thing. We've been breeding for a long time, so we kind of already know all the medications and dosages and all that stuff. But a lot of times it's fish antibiotics, goat antibiotics, or like horse antibiotics. It's like farm animals or fish, and it's the same exact thing, just a different label on it.
Yeah.
So how it was told to me is, so for example, a lot of dog medication is for people too, but the fact that it's not for a person, you don't need a prescription. But if you get that same amount of medication that has a human label on it, you need a prescription. So even a lot of people buy medications that are for horses or whatever, that is the exact same medication, it's just relabeled. So that's like a little loophole that you can get in, but definitely do your research, and don't listen to me because I'm an idiot.
To answer that question about how often you should bathe your bearded dragon, at least once a week in a hot bath, 15 to 20
Babies
minutes.
like twice a week to 3 times a week that I try to do it in.
Yes, I'm talking more, 3 months and up. Anything less, soak them, at least mist them twice a day, and make sure they have access to water. And then soak them at least once a week so their entire body's getting, or twice a week so their entire body's getting warm, especially and wet, so that they can shed easier when they're a baby. Even if you just put a small, shallow like plate or dish with water in there and start introducing that to your babies that way every single day, and then taking that out, I don't recommend leaving any water in the baby's enclosure. Especially near the smart, and they'll drown really easily.
Basically near the basking spot. You don't want to bump up their humidity too high.
Yeah, definitely. If you don't have an open top enclosure like I do, where they're in totes, and if you have a stack or an enclosed enclosure with not very good ventilation, definitely don't leave water in there, because it'll raise the humidity really high, and then you're going to give upper respiratory infections to all your babies, and unfortunately it's just going to go downhill from there at a young age.
Yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think what else. Does anybody have any questions that's on here still? I'm trying to think. I forgot. I feel like we're missing something. What we were going to talk about.
Worm Guard is from Natural Zone.
This is the brand name. Trying to think of what we were missing. Getting a beard. Have you ever thought about getting a beardy from abroad? So a lot of people that I know import, especially red dragons, like true reds. A lot of people import them. I've never imported a dragon myself, but I know a lot of people that wait until all those forget those shows. What are those shows called? Those import shows. What are they called?
Dutch
I should,
Dragon Imports,
and what's the other
DDI.
one? What's the other one?
I only use DDI.
It's like there's like two other ones, like bigger ones. I can't remember.
DDI is for sure one of the largest ones. That's the one most people use.
What does DDI stand for? Maybe I'm just thinking of that, but
Most people
Dutch
go
Dra-
through
yeah.
DDI, but there's a couple other ones. But he doesn't even, Dutch Dragon Imports doesn't even just, he has Dragon in his name, but he does tons of importing.
No, yeah, for sure.
Snakes, all kinds of stuff. He definitely imports a ton of stuff. Unfortunately, his facility actually just burnt down. I don't know if he has a GoFundMe or anything, but his whole facility just caught fire. He lost a ton of animals overnight. His whole facility up in flames. Definitely go check out his page. See if there's any way you guys can help him. I'm sure they would much appreciate that. To answer one question I did see, do you stem your vegetables? I don't know what stemming that means, but if you mean
steam, do you steam your vegetables?
Oh, steam. Okay, you forgot an A. All right, my bad. No, I don't steam any of my vegetables. Chop everything up into sizes that'll fit in between the eyes of your bearded dragon. Okay, so the best way I can explain that is to for the cuts to be able to fit in your bearded dragon's mouth, it has to fit in between their eyeballs. If you are cutting them small enough to fit in between their eyeballs, you should be totally fine. No one should be choking, dying, or anything like that. But definitely cut your vegetables up. Don't just be tossing them in there. Don't be a lazy ass.
No, for sure. Yeah, people don't understand. Like babies, they're a lot of work, just like any other thing that's a baby. It takes a lot of commitment. I go to work really early in the morning, so in the morning I give them their veggies. When I come home for lunch, I give them their bugs. When I come home for work, I give them a mixture of both. And then they have about 2 to 3 hours until their lights turn off to bask and digest. And then I do it again the next morning. Like I said, I probably spend $300 a month on crickets and other bugs. And crickets are super cheap, so you guys can only imagine how many crickets I'm running through a week. But if you want to breed, definitely plan it out, have space, have the funds. Plan on having these guys for 5 to 8 weeks, so that way they're nice, healthy sized dragons and ready to go. You don't want to get dragons that are just only eating bugs and barely eating vegetables and only 5 to 6 grams. I like my dragons to be 10 to 16 grams, and it only takes about a week to get to those, an extra week to get to those sizes. So, I mean, invest in your animals so you'll get a better product for your customers. You know what I mean?
And remember, if it's, somewhere around a clutch of 20, 30 babies, that's going to cost you anywhere from $100 a week to $150 a week. So monthly, you're looking at $600 a month, and you're going to have to keep those babies for 3 months. So you're going to be spending somewhere around $1,800 on food, electricity, personal time, all that before you see any type of return. And I guarantee you right now, if you're not being patient and taking your time and producing something really special that you're passionate about and making other people passionate about what you are passionate about so they buy into your passion, you're going to be really upset when you go to sell those bearded dragons and someone offers you $15, $25, and then all your friends are like, hey, can you hook me up? I'll give you $50, and you just thought you were gonna cash in. It's definitely a rude awakening. Take your time, do it slowly. Don't just go buying anything that's available because you want to get into this industry. The faster you come in, most likely the faster you're going to be on your way out.
Yep.
Because it's not what it is. It's not what you thought it was. I mean,
if you're trying to be a millionaire, this is not the occupation for you. I promise you. You should be doing it because you genuinely enjoy these animals. You know what I mean?
I was watching Billy from Mutation Creation earlier, and he was saying, he only breeds what he's passionate about. With ball pythons, there's so many genetics
Ralphie, what's up,
genes
bro?
that you can breed. So he breeds the ones that when he opens up his racks in the morning and he sees them, he's happy about. He's like, oh my god, this is beautiful every single time. So if you're just looking at these guys as a paycheck and they don't actually bring you joy at the end of the day, and you're not happy coming into your room and looking at your cages lit up with all your bearded dragons in there, this just isn't for you, because it takes a while to get in the industry. This is only my second year. You guys are probably looking at me like, oh, this guy's fucking crazy. There's people that are doing it on a level that I might not even ever make it to.
Yeah,
and I'll tell you right now, I'm gonna do this for the rest of my life, and I still might not make it to their level, and that's fine with me. I'm okay with that. At the end of the day, I know what I'm capable of. I'm gonna keep pushing towards my goals at the end of the day. 1% better every day, and I'm happy with that. That
Sure.
is totally fine with me. I'm passionate about all my reptiles, not just the bearded dragons, my monitors, my tortoises, my Euromastics. So I'm definitely not in it for the money. I spend more money on this every year than I make, and it could be like that for 5 more years.
Yeah, for sure.
Hopefully, all of you guys go subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I can make some side money on the YouTube channel.
Sure.
And I won't have to spend so much money. But at the end of the day, I'm just trying to pay for my passion. If this
Pretty
paid
much.
for itself at the end of the day, I would be happy. So I didn't have to spend so much money on this. And then, my wife wasn't getting mad at me. My kids weren't giving me dirty looks because I just bought a bunch of lizards instead of toys.
And then, like, as well, like, I have a bunch of babies right now. People are like, wow, man, you're going to be killing it. But I'm like, well, I'm going to spend probably all the money I'm making on new enclosures. So, again, you get it just as fast as it comes in, it goes out just as fast. You know what I mean?
For sure.
Boom. People
The
don't see that
first
part.
year I did it, I had smaller totes. This year I got bigger totes. At the beginning of the year, I got bigger totes and better racks. Now, everything that I've done this year, I'm going to turn around and turn right into the 16 enclosures I have coming from Dragon Haas. So I got 16 3x18 by 18s coming in for my bearded dragons. That'll pretty much take up this whole entire wall. And then my quad stack, they're 3x2x2s or 3x2x18s. That'll be all for my babies.
Yep. So what your adults were in is not going to be a baby rack, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's perfect.
So that'll be some big upgrades, but unfortunately, that still came out of my pocket. At the end of the day, I don't know if I made everything I made probably paid for everybody's food that eats in this room, because I got some big eaters.
For sure. So I'm sure we're going to be wrapping up soon because it just hit 10 o'clock.
Hell yeah, I wanted to kick us off, so that'll be our 1 hour. See you guys next Monday. Please tune in. We'll be doing this every Monday. And I'll be posting on my on my story. I'm sure he'll be posting on his story. Give us some questions. Make the live a little bit smoother. We want to answer what you guys want to know. So you guys ask the questions all throughout the week. I'll try to save them up. We'll come together probably over the weekend before we come in and try to get it all answered, get a little game plan for you guys so the Monday's nice and smooth. But we appreciate you guys checking in. I'm going to have a good night, finish my beer. I'm sure he's going to have a good night finishing his reptile cages.
Yep.
Anything you want to say before we get out of here?
No, just stay tuned for next Monday. Like I said, I love doing these every Monday. I learn stuff too, just as much as you guys. So if you guys have any questions about me, if you guys are interested in babies that I have, message me, message him when he has babies, and we appreciate you guys. So see you guys next time.
All right, guys, have a great night.